Discover the incredible moment a new cashier stood up to the rude CEO, changing lives forever. The sun streaked through the window of Evan's grocery, casting a warm glow on Jamie's tired yet determined face as she rang up another customer. With 2 kids at home and bills piling up, every cent counted. She worked hard. The store was a second home to her and all the people who passed through its aisles. It was a place of laughter, connection, and hope, a heartbeat pulsing in the heart of Maplewood. But today was different. Today, that heartbeat stumbled. Mr. Harrison strode in, his glossy shoes tapping against the linoleum floor like a thunderstorm. He looked around with disdain, his perfectly coiffed hair and tailored suit stark against the humble surroundings. "You should really consider hiring people that can actually help this place thrive," he scoffed, his voice dripping with venom as it echoed through the store. The air thickened instantly, a palpable tension settling among Jamie and her coworkers. Jamie's heart raced as whispers of discomfort rippled through the staff like a wave. She thought of her mother's endless sacrifices, her father's unwavering dignity. She felt the burden in her chest. She couldn't let Mr. Harrison belittle their work like this. As Jamie listened, she could feel the shame blanket her coworkers' shoulders. A mom pushing a cart with her little girl glanced at Jamie, sharing the silent fear and hurt. It was a moment of shared humanity, and in it, Jamie found a spark of courage. Should she stand up for her friends? Could she risk everything to confront the man who swept through their lives like a storm? The unyielding spirit of Maplewood buzzed in her ears, wrapping its strength around her like an old friend. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. With a deep breath, Jamie stepped forward, her voice trembling at first but gaining strength. "Mr. Harrison," she began, "what defines worth is not the money or the titles, it's the heart and hard work of the people here." The brave declaration hung in the air, every eye in the store snapping toward her. Hearts raced, breaths held, as the confrontation escalated. Her colleagues felt the shift, a subtle spark of encouragement passed between them. A small cheer from a child in a nearby cart swelled the courage surrounding them, a reminder of what they were fighting for. But Mr. Harrison's face soured into a mask of fury. As the weight of his wrath settled ominously in the store, Jamie realized that this was about more than just her. It was a battle for the spirit of Maplewood. Would her bravery forge a deeper bond within the community, or lead to a struggle that could tear them apart? With every pulse of hope and dread, Jamie stood firm, the air electric with the possibility of change. As the stare-down intensified, she felt the world revolving around them, the eyes of the town, the heartbeat of a community clenching together with each tense moment. What would come next? Would her courage light an unquenchable fire or trap them all in the dark? The tension in Evan's grocery was thick enough to cut with a knife. Jamie's heart thudded in her chest, every beat echoing the fear and determination swirling within her. Mr. Harrison's eyes narrowed, like a predator sizing up its prey. "You really think you can challenge me in my own store?" He spat, his disdain wrapping around his words like poison ivy. Around her, Jamie felt the collective breath of her colleagues, a mix of dread and wonder. They shifted, shuffling nervously, casting furtive glances toward one another. What was she doing? Who did she think she was? But then, among the crowd, a soft yet fierce mumble emerged from the cashier beside her, Sarah, a single mom juggling 3 jobs. "You tell him, Jamie," she said, her voice barely above a whisper but strong enough to rally the spirit of the team. Fueled by that small act of solidarity, Jamie pressed on. "We put our hearts into this place. We work long shifts, make sacrifices. You might see us as just employees, but we're the backbone of this community," she said, her voice rising with each word. The ache of doubt began to ease from her chest. Light danced in her veins, igniting the fire within her heart. Mr. Harrison barked out a laugh, quick and sharp. Backbone? You think your little community can make a difference? Business is about profits and performance. You should be grateful I even pay you. He leaned in closer, his breath hot, his posture intimidating. Every muscle in Jamie's taut body screamed for her to retreat. But she stood taller, feeling the warmth of support gather around her like a protective shield. Just then, a loud crash reverberated through the store. A metal display of chips had tipped over at the far end, scattering colorful bags across the floor. Jamie's heart skipped a distraction, perhaps a much-needed moment of comic relief. But when the noise settled, a small group of children erupted into laughter, their giggling dispelling the ominous atmosphere. See? Even kids know how to have fun. Without dismissing hard work, Jamie seized the moment, her voice steady now. The kids rushed over to help, picking up the fallen bags as their parents chuckled behind them. This is what we create here, a place of joy and community. Isn't that worth something? A ripple of agreement moved through the customers, one after another nodding their heads, whispering their support. Just outside the store, the afternoon sun glinted off the parked cars and shone through the windows like a spotlight, illuminating the scene inside. Mr. Harrison's face was a mixture of shock and indignation. You should watch your step, he warned, but Jamie could see the fleeting uncertainty in his eyes, the lip twitch that betrayed his annoyance. The only step I need to watch is the one that brings me closer to people who matter, Jamie retorted fiercely. The crowd behind her erupted in murmurs and discreet claps, unexpected encouragement blooming like wildflowers in a rocky terrain. But then, a figure from the back emerged, a familiar face, a father known well by the community. You're wrong, Mr. Harrison, he declared, stepping closer. This store is more than just a business, it's our home. You may own the place, but Jamie's right, it's the people who make it thrive. Jamie's pulse quickened, hope surging through her veins. Was this the moment that could change everything? Would the community stand united against the disillusioned man who threatened their sanctuary? Can we truly change things here? She dared to think, as the weight of their collective voices pressed against her heart. And just like that, she realized this battle was about trust and about standing firm together. As eyes locked, Jamie could feel a shift in the air. What would happen next? Would they find the strength to push back against the winds of disrespect? Or would the storm only grow fiercer? Every second felt suspended in the air, an unsteady silence draping over the room as Mr. Harrison's face twisted with anger and disbelief. The crowd's murmurs grew louder, creating a chorus of defiance that rang sweet as music in Jamie's ears. She had ignited something in this moment, a flicker of hope that resonated with everyone present. Mr. Harrison took a step back, pupils dilated, perhaps reconsidering his approach. The man who had always moved with the confidence of a king now seemed caught off guard, his grip on authority slipping just a bit. Jamie's heart galloped wildly. She could sense the tides turning. We're not just numbers to you, she added, her voice unwavering. We're not disposable. Numbers? He snapped, immediately regaining some composure. This is a business. You think sentimentality pays the bills? But the hard edge in his demeanor faltered under the gaze of the crowd, now coming forth gestures that were small yet powerful, like seeds of conviction planted in rich soil. A customer at the front, Mr. Thompson, a longtime patron and retired teacher, swept his hand through the air. Maybe it's time for you to listen, Harrison. These folks represent more than just profits. Without them, you wouldn't have a place to run. His voice carried authority, and Jamie felt the warmth of solidarity blossom in her chest. This wasn't just her battle anymore, it was theirs. Meanwhile, Sarah, emboldened by Jamie's bravery, stepped up beside her. And we work hard for every dollar, she chimed in, eyes blazing with passion. You don't understand what it's like to struggle. These shelves hold our stories, our lives, our community. You have to care. The voices swelled like a tidal wave, each word gaining strength, echoing solidarity. Jamie's breath caught in her throat as she watched people step forward one after another. A mother spoke about how the store helped her provide for her children, while another shared tales of neighbors helping one another through tough times, all stories linked to their sanctuary. Mr. Harrison's face flushed a deep crimson, anger flaring as if he were a bull ready to charge. Enough! He bellowed, but his voice faltered under the weight of overwhelming unity. You think this is going to change anything? His eyes darted around, searching for the support he usually felt as he ruled over the store with an iron fist. Change is coming, Mr. Harrison, Jamie replied, her heart now racing with a kind of fierce determination. We want to be respected, treated like family, not pushed aside for profits. We love this place, and we won't stand for your disregard. A murmur rippled through the customers. We won't shop here if things don't change. Someone yelled from the back. Jamie felt a thrilling surge, a mix of uncertainty and hope. They were ready to risk it all for a greater cause. Would they really stand together? As Mr. Harrison took a step back, his bravado diminished, confusion etching deeper into his features. Jamie took a deep breath. You can't hold on to something that's crumbling if you don't nurture it. Just outside the store, the sun began to dip below the horizon, casting deep shadows and transforming the atmosphere. Jamie could see the shift in energy all around her. She knew this wasn't an ending but merely a turning point, a spark that could set off a fire. But suddenly, Mr. Harrison's spine straightened, as if a final plan had formed. You'll regret this, he sneered, turning his gaze back to the crowd. Or maybe we'll finally find our voice, Jamie said softly, feeling the embers of courage kindle stronger within her. The community was alive, relentless, a force that defied expectation. As Jamie stood in that moment, the air crackled with possibility. What would happen next? Would Mr. Harrison push back, or would he realize the power of vulnerability and connection? The fate of the grocery store and its spirit hung in the balance as they stared into the uncertain dawn of change. The tension in the store thickened, swirling around Jamie like a storm. She felt the eyes of her neighbors on her, glimmers of hope and uncertainty woven in their expressions. She had sparked something in all of them, but would it last? What would they do next? From the back of the crowd, a voice rang out, clearing the air like a bell. We're here to stand united, Harrison. We have supported this store for years, and now it's your turn to support us. The shouts grew louder, energized by the sheer defiance of their combined will. Mr. Harrison straightened himself, fuming with indignation. You think this little act of rebellion changes anything? He declared, attempting to regain control. You're just playing with fire. This store is my business, my rules. The murmurs that followed were electric with determination. A woman who used to shop here with her late husband spoke up. You might own the building, but we built its heart. You've forgotten that. Her voice trembled but held a steel-like resolve. Somewhere in Jamie's heart, an ember sparked brighter. They were speaking up, telling their truths, painting pictures with words that revealed the store's soul. It was the very fabric of their community, woven through shared laughter and tears, triumphs and struggles. As Jamie glanced around, she saw allies, friends, and neighbors put their shoulders together, creating a barrier of solidarity. People were standing tall against the towering figure of Mr. Harrison. Fear was slowly being replaced with strength. She turned her gaze back to him. Maybe it's time you learn something about commitment to your community, she urged softly. They want to feel valued, not like mere cogs in a machine. His face twisted again, this time with something more complex. Was it confusion? Fear? Perhaps it was a hint of doubt. It was clear he wasn't accustomed to being challenged. Do you really think I care about your whimsical dreams? This isn't a fairy tale, he spat, but Jamie could see his voice was losing its potency. Maybe you should try caring, she countered, emboldened. Because it feels a lot like being a part of a family. And families stick together, especially through tough times. As the crowd nodded in agreement, Jamie felt a rush of warmth. She had no idea where this strength was coming from. It was like something deep inside her had finally come alive, urging her on. But then, just as the wave of collective strength was cresting, Mr. Harrison stepped forward, eyes blazing with irritation. "You all better watch yourselves," he warned, his voice a low growl. "You think this is a game? I will close this place faster than you even think. Your precious community center will be gone." The air stilled for a moment, shock rippling through the crowd. Were they really willing to risk losing it all? A suffocating silence hung over them, each member feeling the weight of the potential loss. But Sarah, her friend, stood up taller. "You can't scare us. All we want is respect. You think we'll just roll over? We will fight for our home." Words like that brought hope rushing back, and Jamie felt the current of determination flow between them. A simple grocery store was more than just aisles and products, it was a lifeline, a gathering place filled with the laughter of children, the chatter of friends, and meals born from shared ingredients. Somewhere in the sea of determined faces, Jamie saw Mr. Thompson nodding as he turned to the group. "If we work together, we can change things. But we have to commit every day, every customer, every interaction." In that moment, a host of emotions surged through Jamie, fear mixed with hope and purpose. They were on the brink of something extraordinary, but would they unite or be shattered by Mr. Harrison's threats? With a newfound clarity, Jamie raised her voice. "Let us set the tone for the future. If fighting for respect means being cast out, then we'll fight. Together." The crowd erupted into applause and cheers, a wave of sound crashing against the walls. Jamie couldn't believe her own words. She felt alive, a sense of purpose beating within her. But would it be enough? Would Mr. Harrison cower before this passionate community or lash out harder? The uncertainty loomed, heavy and thick. As she stood, contemplating all that lay ahead, the door swung open with a dull creak. A chill shot through Jamie as a stranger walked in, a figure cloaked in shadows. What did they want? Would this new presence tip the scales one way or the other? The air felt charged, and Jamie realized the fight was just beginning. The strangers stepped into the store, their presence a stark contrast to the heated emotions swirling around Jamie and the crowd. Cloaked in a long black coat, the figure moved with a quiet confidence. The chatter tapered off as eyes turned from Mr. Harrison to this unexpected newcomer, curiosity mingling with apprehension. Jamie's heart raced. Who was this person, and why did they feel like both a threat and a beacon of hope all at once? The air buzzed with questions, the anticipation so thick one could almost taste it. "Excuse me," the stranger said, their voice smooth yet commanding, slicing through the tension. "I'm here for a reason." They pulled back their hood, revealing a face that exuded determination. Hazel eyes scanned the crowd, landing briefly on Jamie before returning to Mr. Harrison. "I'm Alex. And I'm here to help." Mr. Harrison frowned, as if he were trying to sniff out a lie. "Help? With what?" "This is my business, and I will, so you can threaten them all you want, but it won't make a difference," Alex interrupted, standing firm. "They are united now, and you're losing your grip." Jamie felt warmth spreading through her. This newcomer was fearless, and that sparked embers of courage in her again. "We've all given so much to this community," Alex continued, now addressing the crowd. "You're more powerful than you think. Together, you can shape the future you want." The crowd stirred, nodding and murmuring their agreement, empowered by the presence of this stranger who seemed to understand them so well. There was something about Alex that ignited a flame within Jamie, reminding her of the voices she heard earlier, the pain, joy, and loyalty that wrapped around them like a warm blanket. "Yeah!" shouted Sarah, her voice rising above the chorus. "This is our store. Our years of laughter, our memories. We won't let one person take that away." Mr. Harrison clenched his fists, his irritation palpable. "What do you know about running a business? You're just an outsider." Alex smirked. What I know is that a business isn't just about money. It's about people. It's about heart. Their voice grew more passionate. Do you even see these faces? They're your customers, your neighbors. They deserve respect, not fear. The townsfolk care more than you realize. Before Jamie could process the whirlwind of emotions, something changed in the atmosphere. The crowd was pushing forward, leaning on each other for support, propelling courage into the very center of the storm. Jamie's heart swelled with connection and hope. Just then, someone shouted from within the crowd, "Let us show him what we can do." The reply rippled like a wave through the gathering, sparking renewed applause and proclamations of loyalty to their little grocery store. As Jamie's gaze swept across her friends and neighbors, she felt a collective heartbeat, a rhythm of courage rising in unison. This was their moment. But beneath the surface, she knew the battle was far from over. Would Mr. Harrison really fight them, or back down as they stood strong? The atmosphere shifted, the air thick like a brewing storm, and Jamie could almost hear the thunder in the distance. The look on Mr. Harrison's face was a mix of disbelief and fury. "You think you can win? I'll show you what I'm capable of." As the crowd's determination continued to swell, Jamie felt her own confidence surge, spurred on by Alex's boldness. But she also dreaded the consequences of their unity. Tension crackled in the space between them. What more could Mr. Harrison do? As he squared his shoulders, preparing for a fight, Jamie glanced at Alex, a silent question etched on her face. What now? It was then that Jamie realized they were on the precipice of something monumental. But would they break through the darkness together or be scattered like leaves in the wind? As the two sides faced off, Jamie took a deep breath, willing the crowd to stand strong. In the flickering patent lights of the store, two worlds were converging and the outcome was hanging in the balance. Jamie's heart hammered in her chest as she stared at the tense scene unfolding before her. The air felt electric, alive with the unspoken weight of what was at stake. Alex's inviting stance ignited a fire within her, pushing her forward. She took a step, believing that if they could stand together, they could weather any storm. "Mr. Harrison," Jamie called out, her voice barely recognized against the tide of emotion surging through the crowd. "This isn't just your business. It belongs to all of us." Mr. Harrison's face twisted in disbelief. "What do you know about business? You're just a kid working part-time." "You might be right," Jamie said, her confidence rising with each word. "But we're more than just customers. We're a community. We've built this place together. Every smile, every checkout is a part of us." The crowd echoed her passion, murmuring their agreement, a hopeful undercurrent swelling like a chorus. Jamie fought back tears, feeling the power of their unity. Each familiar face flashed through her mind: Sarah, Tom, Mrs. Granger, and the kids who rushed to grab their candy on a Friday. This place symbolized more than goods, it was home. "Do you know what it's like to stand in line and share a laugh with a stranger?" she asked, her voice rising. "Do you know what it's like to grab the last bag of cereal and find it gone, only to be met with a sympathetic smile from someone who understands?" "You're right, this is about heart." For a brief moment, there was silence. Jamie locked eyes with Alex, who gave her a slight nod of encouragement. The crowd behind her grew restless with enthusiasm, ready to respond. "The truth is, Mr. Harrison," Alex continued, stepping in closer, "fear may work for a while, but love and connection last far longer. You're fighting a losing battle. Don't you want us all to thrive?" Mr. Harrison shifted, moving uncomfortably as his eyes darted between the crowd and Alex. His bravado began to falter, and for the first time, Jamie saw a crack in his steely armor. "You think this little uprising can change anything?" "It's not just a little uprising," Sarah shouted again, her voice ringing through the store. "It's a community saying enough is enough." The momentum shifted, backs straightened, and heads lifted. Jamie could practically feel the pulse of unity radiating from the crowd. It was raw and invigorating, as if they were all connected by an unseen thread of resilience. With clenched fists and rising voices, the townspeople chanted and cheered, "Our store. Our community." Each call igniting a brighter flame, ready to stand against the darkness of indifference. In that moment, Jamie realized they weren't just fighting for their store, they were fighting for who they were, their identities tangled within those walls. They were family, friends, each life intertwined, and they wouldn't let a stranger dismiss that bond. But as they celebrated their resolve, Jamie noticed Mr. Harrison's eyes narrowing dangerously, a blend of anger and something sinister lurking beneath. She felt a twinge of fear. What lengths might he go to hold on to his power? "Are you really willing to risk everything?" He shot back, his voice low, laced with threat. The crowd faltered momentarily, tension palpable in the air. Jamie's heart plummeted. Could they stand tall in the shadow of his intimidation? She glanced at Alex, who remained unfazed, their expression a mix of determination and concern. Suddenly, someone screamed, "What is he going to do?" The question hung in the air like a dark cloud, and just like that, the atmosphere shifted again. As Jamie caught Alex's gaze, a new realization dawned on her. This wasn't merely a fight over a grocery store, it was a fight for their very lives, a declaration that they would not be silenced. With a deep breath, Jamie stepped forward, fueled by adrenaline and the chorus of voices rallying behind her. She looked around, sensing the uncertainty but also the hope. We won't back down. The stakes had risen higher than ever, and now the outcome felt both exhilarating and terrifying. But what would Mr. Harrison's next move be? Would he unleash a fury they weren't prepared for? As their breaths mingled, tension hung heavily, the only thing clear was that this moment would change everything. The crowd's energy pulsed like a live wire, electric and unstable. Jamie's heart raced, matching the rapid beat of the stirring voices around her. She could feel the collective breath of the townspeople, a single body of hearts beating together. They had made their stand, but the tension brewing between Mr. Harrison and the townspeople sparked an unpredictable fear. What if they crossed a line that couldn't be uncrossed? Enough of this. Mr. Harrison barked, his voice slicing through the air, sharp as glass. You think you can threaten me? You don't even know what I can do to ruin your lives. A collective gasp rippled through the crowd. Jamie felt a rush of defiance swell in her chest. She could see the fear in some faces, but she also noticed the flicker of determination in others. They had come too far to let his threats deter them now. You talk about ruining lives, Mr. Harrison, Jamie replied, striving to keep her voice steady, but it's your actions that are the real threat here. This isn't just a job to us. This is our home. A ripple of agreement stirred from the back, growing louder and more resolute. Our home, they echoed, each repetition filling the void left by the fear. The chant became a mantra, interweaving gratitude with rebellion. Mr. Harrison squared his shoulders, his resolve hardening. You can chant all you want, but this isn't a fairy tale. I have the power to kick you all out, to shut this place down, he snarled, his eyes wild with rage. You want to play games? Let us see just how far I'm willing to go. A chill crept through Jamie's spine. This was no longer just words exchanged, it was a dangerous game of power. She scanned the audience, noticing how their expressions mirrored her anxiety. Fear doesn't protect a home, she thought, only unity and courage do. Then do it, Jamie said, stepping even closer. The courage in her voice amazed even herself. You can take away our store, but you'll never take away our spirit. The crowd erupted in a thunderous cheer, many raising their fists in solidarity. They were collectively breaking down walls, transcending their individual fears. Jamie felt a swell of pride, surrounding herself within a fortress built of unwavering resolve. Suddenly, a figure broke through the crowd. Tom, the local mechanic, stood tall, his face flushed with anger. You might think you control this place, but you don't know its soul, he roared. We've cultivated this spirit with love, laughter, and countless shared moments. You can't wipe that away. Mr. Harrison's composure shattered like porcelain. For the first time, doubt flickered across his features. Jamie caught the momentary glance shared between him and the townsfolk. Their strength was tangible, built from the ever-present love of their community. But as Jamie reveled in their unity, she noticed something moving beneath the surface of Mr. Harrison's fear. It wasn't just anger, it was desperation. What could he unleash when cornered like a wounded animal? Just then, a loud crash echoed from the back of the store. Jamie's heart dropped as she turned to see shelves teetering. Panic and confusion rippled through the crowd. What was that? Alex yelled over the tumult. It's a distraction. Jamie shouted. Stay focused. Don't let him divide us. She fought to keep the fear from her voice, though her heart raced faster than before. Each movement of the crowd felt precarious now, as if anything could topple this beautiful structure they had just begun to build. Whether it was the echo of the crash or fear creeping in again, the tension had shifted. The line drawn in the sand seemed dangerously close to being crossed. As they faced Mr. Harrison, Jamie could feel uncertainty creeping back in. Would they really be able to stand against his fury? The battle was just beginning, and the outcome would mean everything. Just then, Mr. Harrison's expression hardened again, and he lurched forward, ready to strike back. Jamie's breath hitched. If they pressed on, it could lead to a climax none of them were prepared for. What was the next step in this volatile standoff? Would this conflict push their limits too far, or would they find a way to rise together against the odds? The crowd's tension was palpable as Mr. Harrison advanced, his presence a towering shadow over them all. Jamie felt the hairs on the back of her neck rise. She could practically hear her heart thumping in her ears. Suddenly, a voice broke through the fear. Wait! It was Claire, the new cashier who had recently joined the team. She stepped forward, her hands shaking slightly but determination lighting her eyes. Mr. Harrison, we don't have to do this. There's a better way to resolve this. The tension in the air shifted, a collective gasp replacing the simmering anticipation. Jamie watched, incredulous, as Claire approached Harrison. A mix of fear and admiration swirled within her. Claire had only been a part of their small community for a short time, but today, she was embodying their fight. Listen, Claire continued, her voice gaining strength. We're not here to shout or threaten. We're here because we believe in this place and each other. You want to shut us down? Fine, we'll find a way. But can't we at least talk first? Mr. Harrison's expression softened for a fraction of a second, as if flickering through a maze of conflicting thoughts. But then, with a tight jaw, he shook his head. You've got no idea the stakes you're asking me to gamble with, young lady, he spat, focusing back on the crowd. This is business. You think you can just charm me into compliance? A murmur traveled through the townspeople. It was as if Claire's bravery had ignited something within them, a spark of hope in the middle of the storm. Who knew how much strength a simple plea could muster? Is this about profit for you, Mr. Harrison? Or is it about your pride? Claire challenged, setting her jaw. We're not asking you for charity. We're asking for fairness, a fair shot to keep what we've built together. A few older townsfolk exchanged glances, others nodding. This would surely frustrate Mr. Harrison. It was the first time someone had dared to hold him accountable, challenging the landscape of his authority. Jamie felt her confidence growing, fueled by Claire's words. This wasn't just about the store anymore, this was about the community. We're here to stay. You'll crush our bodies, but you won't crush our spirit. She added, her voice merging with Claire's and bringing forth waves of support, each cheer like a shield against the threat. But in that moment of strength, Jamie realized they needed a plan. They couldn't just fight with words. They needed to present their case, to show Mr. Harrison what this place truly meant to them. Let us meet, Jamie called out. Not here, but somewhere safe. You set the terms, Mr. Harrison. Just promise us a chance to speak without threats. From the back of the crowd someone shouted, yeah. Let us show you what this place means. Seizing the moment, Claire stepped forward again. We're not just employees and customers. We're friends, neighbors, family. If you can see that, maybe we can find a compromise. Mr. Harrison's stance faltered ever so slightly. Jamie could see the internal conflict churning like a storm behind his eyes. But before he could respond, the low rumble of the crowd became a chant again. Compromise. 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 The words washed over them like a wave, crashing down on Mr. Harrison, who now seemed trapped between fear and doubt. We'll take that first step, Claire said, her voice more resolute than ever, but only if you come to this town with an open mind. We're not your enemies. The crowd erupted again, rallying behind their newfound hope. It was infectious, lifting their spirits higher than ever before. But just as victory felt within reach, Jamie noticed something shift in the crowd. It took her a moment to understand. Someone was missing. Where's Alex? She shouted, scanning the crowd. Upon hearing her voice, a sinking feeling filled Jamie's stomach. This wasn't over, the unexpected was still lurking just around the corner. What had they unintentionally set in motion? As the crowd jostled with a mix of fear and excitement, a single question hung in the air: would they be able to unite against the unseen dangers lurking in the shadows, or would they be divided once again? Jamie's heart raced as she scanned through the sea of faces, anxiety tightening her chest. They had just stood up to Mr. Harrison, but now a greater fear gripped her. Where was Alex? He had been so instrumental in the campaign for the store's survival, his energy infectious. How could they face this battle without him? The crowd began to murmur questions, a growing unease settling in. Maybe he's just caught up in the crowd, someone suggested, but Jamie knew. No, something's wrong. She felt it deep inside, a cold shiver ran down her spine. Claire, I'll be right back, Jamie said, her voice steady despite the chaos around her. She wriggled her way through the crowd, focusing on the urgency of the moment. As she pushed past familiar faces, she tried to reassure them with a smile, but her mind was racing. Claire can handle herself with Harrison, she thought, trying to calm her thoughts. I just need to find Alex. Just then, she heard a commotion toward the rear of the crowd, where the shouts were louder, more frantic. Jamie quickened her pace, heart pounding louder with each step. When she reached the back, she found several people pointing toward the alleyway adjacent to the store. An unsettling sight greeted her as she peered around the corner. There was Alex, cornered by some rough-looking men. They were towering over him, and he seemed to be pleading. Hey! Jamie shouted, her voice cracking through the tension. Every ounce of fear fueled her rush forward. Get away from him. The men turned, surprised by Jamie's sudden presence. One sneered while the others exchanged glances. This doesn't concern you, girl. What doesn't concern me? She replied, drawing strength from the community that had rallied behind her moments earlier. You're threatening my friend. Alex looked at her, his expression a mix of hope and desperation. Jamie, don't shut it. One of the men barked, stepping closer, eyes like dark, swirling clouds. Jamie's chest tightened. She took a step forward, hands clenched at her sides. You have no right to intimidate him. We're not going anywhere. You want something from us? You have to go through all of us. Is that so? The man laughed, but it lacked humor. A sudden movement caught Jamie's eye from the crowd at her back. It was Claire, pushing her way through to stand beside Jamie with her chin held high. We won't let you hurt him. We're all in this together. The men hesitated, glancing between the two brave women and the growing crowd forming behind them. Jamie could feel the energy shift, support solidifying in the air like a thick blanket. Back off, one of the men finally urged his friends, their bravado beginning to wane. This isn't going to end well for you if you keep pushing. But Jamie stood firm. You think we're afraid? We're stronger than you realize. You take one of us down, you take us all down. The men huddled together, whispering and weaving a plan of retreat, and Jamie's heart raced as she realized the power they had summoned by standing together. Now! Claire shouted, and the crowd surged forward, united as one. The men exchanged one last glance, then retreated into the shadows of the alley, grumbling under their breath. Cheers erupted from the crowd, deafening and joyous, washing over Jamie like a wave. But just as relief settled in, Jamie felt a chill in the air. Mr. Harrison was still watching. What would he do now? The fight was not over, it had only begun. As they turned together, regrouping with the spirit of their community surrounding them, Jamie thought about the bond they had forged. But the real test was still ahead. Did they have what it would take to face Mr. Harrison once again? Jamie stood there, heart still racing from the confrontation, but a new resolve surged through her veins. The cheers of the crowd echoed around her, but she could feel the weight of Mr. Harrison's gaze looming over them like a thundercloud ready to burst. Would the victory over those thugs gain them the confidence to face him? Together, with Claire at her side, they stepped back into the store. The atmosphere shifted again as they returned to the battleground, unintentional warriors of hope. The waves of courage that had fueled their fight felt stronger now, more tangible than ever. We can't stop here. We have to show Mr. Harrison we won. Back down, Jamie encouraged, her voice steady. True. Claire exclaimed. But we ought to prepare. If we can stand up to those men, we can certainly stand up to him. As the townspeople began to cheer, Jamie felt the fires of purpose ignite again. Voices filled the air, stories and memories weaving the fabric of the store's spirit, each a thread binding them closer together. They were all intertwined within this place, within this fight. Outside the store, clouds loomed ominously, matching the tension within, but they couldn't let that deter them. We need a plan, Jamie declared, her voice rising above the chatter as she took a few steps forward, commanding attention. This is our moment to show that we are more than numbers to him. More than just customers. We are community. Everyone began to murmur agreements, nodding along eagerly. Mr. Harrison's presence had threatened their resolve, but now, house by house, they were all building a fortress of strength. It was time to unite. Let us draft a letter outlining our needs and concerns, Claire suggested, lighting a spark in the minds of the crowd. Let us put this into words so that he can't undermine us. We deserve to be heard. A murmur of excitement rippled through the crowd, energized by the smell of collaboration. They gathered around, each voicing their thoughts, memories flooding back of moments shared together in the grocery store, the laughter, the tears, the lifelines they had created. Jamie felt a surge of gratitude. This was more than just an owner versus employees, it was generations of connections and supporting hands. It symbolized what Maplewood truly was. They each took turns jotting down statements, visions, dreams for a place that respected them all, not just financially, but personally. Once the letter was drafted, a silence fell over the group as they stood in a circle, reading their words of unity out loud. Confidence grew, Jamie could feel it blossoming among them. These are our voices. These are our stories. Mr. Harrison cannot disregard us when faced with facts and hopes, she proclaimed with absolute conviction. But just as hope blossomed, fear crept in again. What if he throws this away? Someone whispered from the crowd, nerves vibrating in the air like a taut wire. What if he curses us out? Another added, arms folded tightly against the uncertainty. We'll keep fighting. Jamie replied, her voice ringing with strength. If he doesn't acknowledge us, then we show up at the next board meeting. If he wants to pretend we don't exist, we'll blast our unity to the whole town. This become our moment. With each declaration, faces lit up with determination. They needed to be heard. As the cloud cloaked over Maplewood, a dark omen seemed to settle like a shroud. But buried beneath that darkness was a glimmer of light, one they all embraced. Together they would bring forth their message. Mr. Harrison couldn't control them anymore, this was their home, and they would fight for it as one. Hours passed, filled with laughter, pooling hope and spiraling resolve. They would drum up support, they would get the whole town in on this. Maplewood was more than just a grocery store, it was family. As Jamie looked around at her friends, neighbors, and co-workers standing shoulder to shoulder, she realized something significant. This wasn't only about the store anymore, this was a movement, a declaration of who they were as a community, a commitment to protect their sanctuary with everything they had. And just then, as if the universe aligned, the sun broke through the heavy clouds outside, casting a warming light over Evan's grocery. Hope illuminated their faces. "We can do this," Jamie said, a radiant smile stretching across her face. "Today we take back our power." The crowd erupted into applause, voices ringing with excitement as they stepped out into the uncertain future together. They would face Mr. Harrison again, but this time, they would do it united. They would hold him accountable and let him know that Maplewood would never back down. Together they were a force. Together, they could change everything. As Jamie took a deep breath and straightened her shoulders, she realized this fight wasn't just a chapter, this was a new beginning for every single one of them. And with that, the storm inside began to break, light shining once more as they moved forward, ready to embrace the change they knew they could create. Now, it is your turn. This is the moment to show your support. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. You need to subscribe now because only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions. Don't wait not even one more second to share.